Hi, I'm Jacori, and this is not a drill. So, how did you like episode 1 of The Witcher? Did my videos help get you oriented? Before we get started on episode 2, here's a quick list of things that you saw in episode 1 that you'll want to keep in mind moving forward. In the Witcher universe, Kikimoras are nasty spider-like creatures and not quite the same as the legendary Kikimora of Slavic lore. A lot of folks don't much like or trust Witchers. Marilka is full of fun facts, like the average folks see Witchers as mutants or brutal monsters themselves in spite of their trade, and girls can't be Witchers. Geralt's horse is named Roach. Stregobor states that Witchers don't feel, as in their mutations make them less inclined to empathy. But as this first episode shows, Geralt certainly feels many emotions. Destiny is a recurring theme. Charlie at Emergency Awesome joked that if you drink every time someone mentions destiny in Season 1, you'll be dead before the end of the season. Stregobor is a rather brutal sorcerer who likes to carve up corpses to see what's inside. He's like a coroner, but with more nefarious intentions. It was Stregobor's history with Renfri that has most likely turned her into the monster he claims her to be, not his stupid, non-rhyming prediction.
Doesn't rhyme. All good predictions rhyme.
Ys dies in battle, and Calanthe is injured. Calanthe tells Ciri on sending her away to escape Cintra to find Geralt of Rivia, and that he's her destiny. Later, Calanthe and many others in the Cintra court commit suicide to avoid being captured by Nilfgaard. Ciri seems to have supernatural abilities triggered by powerful emotions, but also seems to have no knowledge or control over them. She also has no understanding of why she's been protected her whole life, or why she specifically is being pursued by Nilfgaard, separate from their conquering of Cintra. Renfri's desire for revenge against Stregobor led her to threaten killing townfolk, and Geralt was compelled to fight and kill Renfri to protect the town from her wrath. Geralt's notorious nickname, thanks to Stregobor, is the Butcher of Blaviken. Geralt took Renfri's gaudy brooch as a reminder of the lessons he learned from this Blaviken encounter. Keep an eye out for this brooch throughout the season. Before she dies, Renfri tells Geralt that the girl in the woods is his destiny. As we hear these words repeated at the end of the episode, we see Ciri running through the woods. Finally, Geralt's and Ciri's stories aren't happening at the same time. You might not pick up on this when you first watch it, but in an earlier part of the episode, Ciri mentions that her grandmother, Queen Calanthe, won her first battle at Hutchbus when she was her age. Later, Renfri refers to that same event as if it had just happened. Also, if you read the books, which are available in well-narrated audiobooks, you'll notice that there are details of the story that differ, but they're minor details that aren't pertinent to the broader narrative. There are only 8 more things to cover before you watch episode 2, so let's get right into it. Number 1. Yennefer. In episode 2, you'll meet the third of the destiny-bound triad of characters in our story, Yennefer. The show has chosen to start Yennefer's story with the history of where she's from and how she came to train as a sorceress. This is mostly created for the Netflix series based on details collected from throughout the books. Essentially, Yennefer, like Ciri in episode 1, displays some abilities with magic that she seems unaware of and doesn't have control over. From here, it's probably best that you experience Yennefer on your own in episode 2, so that you can react without any spoilers. Pay close attention to her dialogue to learn more about her early experiences at Aretuza and her relationship with DeVries and Istrid. In later videos, I'll review and fill in the critical details you'll need for subsequent episodes. Number 2. Aretuza. Aretuza is an academy that trains girls as magic users. The book speaks of a high tuition for girls to pay to attend Aretuza, but the Netflix series just emphasizes that the girls have shown the ability to use magic in some specific way. The girls there aren't actually permitted to leave the grounds at Aretuza while they're in training, so they tend to bond closely with each other. Number 3. Tissaia DeVries. Tissaia DeVries is a sorceress and the rectoress of Aretuza. Like Yennefer, you get most of what you need to know about Tissaia through watching the episode, so I won't go into more here. Number 4. Istrid. For the Netflix series, Istrid is more fleshed out as a character than he is in Sapkowski's original work. Episode 2 shows Istrid entirely in old Aretuzian ruins, where he's studying. The ruins become a meeting place for him and Yennefer throughout the episode. Istrid is an advanced magic student, but doesn't train with the girls at Aretuza because, well, Aretuza's a girls' academy. You'll find out more about his master later in the story. Number 5. A Mark of Magic. In the Witcher universe, when someone uses magic, it leaves a mark on the user that other magic users can detect. In other words, using magic is like putting a tracker on yourself. Istrid will briefly mention this ability in the episode, specifically related to portals. This important detail affects magic users across the continent throughout the series. Number 6. Yaskier. In Episode 2, you'll meet a bard named Yaskier who becomes an avid fanboy of Geralt of Rivia. By the end of the episode, Yaskier becomes a self-appointed roadie and PR man for Geralt. And by Episode 4, I hope you'll adore the character as much as I do. Now, Yaskier is the original Polish name for this character, and that's what the Netflix series has decided to use. However, in English translations of the book, you'll hear this character called Dandelion. Witcher lore states that this is because Yaskier translates to Buttercup in English, but the English publishers thought Buttercup sounded too feminine and renamed the character Dandelion. In the audiobooks, you'll hear 2 different pronunciations for this name, Dandelion and Dandelion. Number 7. Elves. In the Witcher universe, there's a deep lore around elves that's critical to the story. To best serve your viewing experience, it's best we unravel that lore a little at a time, balancing these preps with what you learn during the episodes. By the time we finish Season 1, we'll have covered a lot about elves, magic used by elves, and the Elder Blood. To orient you to Episode 2, though, here's what's useful to know. Like Tolkien's elves, the elves in Witcher lore have pointed ears, generally resemble humans, and live many lifetimes longer than humans. Istrid tells Yennefer a bit about the elves' history during this episode, but there are earlier scenes in the episode for which it may be useful to know that information. The elves in Witcher lore occupied the continent long before humans, and were the first magic users on the continent. Humans hailed from a different homeworld and started settling on the continent shortly after a great historical event called the Conjunction of the Spheres. After a while, humans learned magic also, and eventually they went to war with the elves. Humans wiped out most of the elves, and the remaining elves of the continent live in hiding or exile, separating themselves from humans. Thus, as you might expect, elves have no trust or love for humans. For the rest of what you need to know, pay close attention to Filavandrel's dialogue in Episode 2. He's this blonde elf that speaks with Geralt. Number 8. Chaos and Magic. Tissaia DeVries teaches lessons that suggest that magic users have a responsibility to bring balance and control to the chaos in the world, and that this is independent of their emotional connections to anything in the world. Keep an eye on how Yennefer evolves as she learns these lessons throughout the episode. Bonus: Roach. All Geralt's horses are named Roach. Remember, Geralt lives well beyond human years, so he's bound to go through a few horses. I feel like anything else I say for this episode will spoil the experience for you. You'll notice that I didn't mention anything about Ciri here, but I think you'll pick up her story in Episode 2 without any prep from me. I encourage you to watch it for yourself soon and post a comment on this video if it helped you. Also, let me know if you think there's more I should have covered here before you watched. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get a notice when I post the video preparing you for Episode 3, Betrayer Moon.